Also, talking about another country, and here we're going to some more familiar territory for me, is the Brazilian dribbler. And here we have three perfect examples of the Brazilian dribbler, which is Garrincha, considered one of the best dribblers of all time. We have Ronaldinho Gaúcho and Neymar, which are like amazing in agility, in improvisation, in creativity, but also in the behavioral side of it. They are irreverent guys. They play with such joy, with such lightness. You can see in their faces while they were playing, and you can see in their style of play. And I feel like the you mentioned that the Argentinian 10, the enganche, is probably dying. It's in modern football. I feel like the Brazilian dribbler is definitely dying, especially when we look at these young Brazilian stars that are going to Europe so soon. They're signing contracts with the giants from like Barcelona, Real Madrid, before they even reach 18 years of age. So it really feels like this type of player is dying. I'm curious to know what's your take on this style of player, because I feel like this is something very particular to Brazil. I don't see many lots of other countries having this sort of like this joyful character, this irreverent improvisational creative player. As an Uruguayan, how do you see these guys? How do you see the Brazilian dribblers?
No, first of all, I just wanted to clarify the fact that the average level of the Brazilian star, the Brazilian player, is obviously far higher than the Uruguayan, the Argentinian, or whatever. The quality, the just the quality, just the quality as a number from every single player is probably far ahead from the rest of the countries. But despite all of that, I think that the Brazilian star, the Brazilian 10, has like a double side of the coin situation, you know.
What do you mean?
Well, let me explain you with someone who's not Brazilian.
Okay.
A long time ago, I was talking with a friend who's a football player. He actually used to play in the first division and had to retire since his leg got broken and stuff like that. But I was talking to him about Dimitri Payet, who plays in the Brasileirão. I don't know if he still, but
He's not anymore, but he played for like 1 or 2 years in the Vasco. Yeah.
and I was talking about him like, wow, like how much of a quality player he is, but his mind is somewhere else every single time. Like he's always having a lot of problems, but then his pure quality as a player is fantastic. Super technical, great free kicks, whatever. And what he told me changed the way I see like football forever, because he said probably the way he is as a person has a lot to do with the way he plays football. And I think this has a lot to do with the average Brazilian player. Like the fact that they seem the stereotypical Brazilian player, the fact that they seem not to care that much about football is what makes them so good, because when you stop caring that much about something, things begin to work. It's crazy, but I feel like there's something there.
I mean, I can't say for Garrincha. I haven't lived when he was playing. I don't know how was like his day-to-day life, but this is definitely something that happened in Ronaldinho and Neymar's career, and they have been criticized for it. These are the guys that not only they have this irreverence, this lightness to football, but to life as well. These are perhaps the two most iconic examples of Brazilian um, party lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
Ronaldinho, everyone says that Ronaldinho could have he reached the peak of his career in Barcelona in like the 2004 to 2006. He won like two Ballon d'Or, if I'm not mistaken. And everyone feels like he could have reached so much more if he had focused on football. For a longer time, that is, because obviously when he was in Barcelona, he was focused on football. I mean, the guy won everything. Um, but they feel like he could have accomplished so much more. He could have stayed on top for so many more years if he wasn't also this easygoing guy during the off hours. You know what I'm saying? And Neymar, he's been suffering the same criticism. Obviously, Neymar lived in a much more digital age when internet culture was much more developed. So his life was an open book. Everyone know what Neymar was doing. Could. Everyone is aware of the Neymar party lifestyle at every single moment of his life. And actually, this was the main discussion behind the all of the debate if he should be called up to the national team in this World Cup or not, because people said that he wasn't taking care of himself enough. He was more occupied with like playing poker and partying and like partying with hookers or something like that. um, because yeah, like cheating on his wife, all that stuff. But yeah, this is something very, very, very connected to this type of stereotype of the Brazilian player. But actually, like getting back to the football side of things, I see that this type of this lightness, this dribbler, he usually was formed in the basis of futsal. Actually, is that a word? Do you know what futsal is?
Yeah. It was
I,
invented in Uruguay, futsal,
oh,
by
really?
the way.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I didn't know if you guys called it futsal as well, or if this is just like a Brazilian
Yeah,
word.
it's futsal. It's weird because it was created in Uruguay. Like you can check that on Wikipedia. There's the
Trust you
name of the guy who invented it. But there's not that much futsal in Uruguay. Like it's not that
anymore.
developed. Like there's only Nacional and Peñarol,
Uh-huh.
and then just like not. There's more like football seven and stuff
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
But you're saying the basis of the number 10, the Brazilian 10, is in futsal. I think Coutinho played futsal for a really long time, right?
Yeah, if I'm almost positive that Coutinho did. I think Neymar did as well. Ronaldinho, yeah, as well, if I'm not mistaken. But a lot of players, a lot of young Brazilian players start in futsal and then move on to the pitch. Actually, I have two young cousins who are now playing in my hometown's club, the futsal club, and I know they want to play for Paranaense one day. So I'm hopeful that this works out. But futsal is a very important basis for these players. Also, we have like in a more casual way, we have this habit of playing soccer in beaches, like jogar altinha, which is like juggling the ball and passing it in a circle and stuff. So
With
this,
those big balls that bounce a lot, so
yeah,
everybody's like amazing at football, and you bring your real ball and you feel like shit.
yeah, like the balls that are lighter than a feather. But I think these are environments that promote creativity, that promote improvisation. So this is definitely something that shapes the basis for these players. But the thing is, these are kinds of players that are dying. As we said, the players are going younger and younger to Europe. Their mind is less focused on creativity and improvisation and more like system, organization, and being part of a collective.
Right.
So even someone like Vini Jr., for example, the guy's fast, the guy's a very skillful winger, but he's not a dribbler. His dribbling is more like in speed, in progression, and not in short spaces. So
He's a system player.
he's a system player
He
who's got
adapted himself to the Real Madrid system.
yeah,
Might in other systems, but he's not a Brazilian player.
yeah, he's a system player with some Brazilianness in him. Maybe that's the most accurate way to
Yeah.
to say it.
I was after Uruguay got knocked out of the World Cup. Some players spoke like a few words to the media,
Mhm.
and our captain. I know this is Uruguay related, but it has a lot to do with
Yeah,
what you're saying. Our captain basically said that the situation was a puta mierda, okay, which
mhm,
means like a fucking shit.
yeah,
But he said it in a way that sounds very Spanish, like from Spain. No,
mhm,
it's not something that we say in Uruguay, and of course it makes a lot of sense because he's been living in Spain for a really long time. But since this tiny situation happened, there's a streamer I really like who's called Emilio. That he proposed an idea. He was talking about this and how the Uruguayan players and in general Latin American players are living very young, so that our identity is like getting a little bit distorted because
yeah,
of the huge amount of players who are just like trained in Europe. And he was saying, why don't we try in Uruguay, since it's a really small country in which you can do like a bunch of tests? Why don't we ban players from living until they turn 21? Not 18, but 21. So you get
yeah,
to
yeah,
have like a few years in which they are biologically developed. They can play in the first division. They can get to experience the league.
yeah,
Like obviously we're talking about stars, but there's a lot of players that go to Europe. Like
yeah.
and nobody hears
Even
about
knows
them.
them. Yeah,
Yeah, and if you keep them, the level of your league would just increase. So if you
yeah,
keep 100 players every year, and then you get rid of like I don't know, maybe 100, and then another 100 comes back,
yeah,
you will have basically a better league. So every player that comes in will have a better environment to work, and basically the whole thing will basically become better.
yeah,
Which at 18 seems to be like too young to do
yeah,
such a thing. So that was basically his idea. I think like it could work like everywhere. It's sort of not very um, moral, since
hmm
you cannot be telling people what to do with their lives. But I think it's
yeah,
good.
yeah. I mean, if it's like a policy that's implemented in a level like by ALF, with it it seems like it would have some sort of consequences that we're not seeing right now.
Of course, yeah, yeah.
Maybe like foreign clubs would come to the country even earlier and try to like get these players even younger and bring them over to their home country. I don't know, but it's a good policy, but it will definitely have some unseen consequences, I think. But yeah, I think it makes sense. It makes sense.